That ought to be exciting, but first, let's start with some crazy stuff, right? Let's go over here to YouTube, and this is a German garden center, and they're explaining how you don't need to tend your garden, which I think is crazy. Here we go. I'll read it to you. You don't have to do anything for this magical site. You just have to let it happen. Let nature do its thing. Yippee-yi, yippee-ki-yo. Okay, that's Hornbach is the name of the garden center, and you know, this picture, you can't probably see, but this is like all thistles. This is thistles and burdock and horrible weeds. I have a backyard like that. I have 5 acres that I've pretty much let go. I mow it several times this summer, but it's pretty much untended. And it's, you know, weeds grow great. So if you love weeds, then, but how in the world does this make any sense for a garden center? Also, no one's moving to the Metaverse. And there were people selling land, Central Land, 98K of land NFTs. Only a third of them have sold. And when it started, they were talking about selling land for millions of dollars. Okay, the lack of traffic probably isn't ideal for brands that showcase there, including Balenciaga, which misspelled its own booth and which seems to be doing better with AI-generated memes anyway. So why shell out for virtual real estate with ads no one sees? Exactly right. Then, of course, there's the real world where inflation has left people inclined to spend money on in real items over virtual ones. But don't count it out. Maybe there'll be something left of it. Who knows? In late 2021 and early 22, weekly trading volumes on the Metaverse platform were at 1 million plus. One plot sold for 2.3 million. Today, just 20 or 30 traders trade for 50,000 a week. Okay, so another one of the shiny objects that the marketing world latches onto. I thought this was interesting. America's favorite pizza brand is No Preference. And this is sort of a pie chart, but none of these things are related. But frozen pizza has been up 11%, and we actually found and I don't know the name of it. We found a frozen pizza that's pretty good. 5 cheeses, and then we add stuff to it. You know, we add mushrooms and we add black olives, and you know, when Lent is over, or it is technically over, but next week we can put sausage on it. Although I'll be back on the carnivore diet, so I probably won't be having pizza for a while. But it's true that we don't usually go buy frozen pizza, and we have been buying it because it's good. And Veracast says that you should go do direct mail, and they have a save direct mail option that you can do local targeting, and they mail it to the houses, saturation mailing, and you can put coupons in it, and you know, we get those in the mail. You call the shots. You can buy the 4-page wrap, or you can put stuff in it that's contained in it. So, you know, there's a way to do mail. There's a way to test mail that's very, very inexpensive, right? You can start it. You could start it around your retail stores if you have them. And that brings me to the next article, okay? And that is it time from Total Retail? I quit looking at Total Retail. I'm going to have to go back to it since Brand United is no more. Is it time for the return of the catalog? And I don't know if Toys R Us is doing a catalog anymore. I don't know how old this is, but and I don't know if IKEA is still doing their catalog either. But anyway, dated picture. I should have taken it out probably. Like many things, retail can be cyclical. And what we're seeing is that post-pandemic, this was good. What we're seeing is that post-pandemic quarantine psychology has elevated a renewed interest in physical engagements over digital. Thus opening the once locked door to print marketing and direct mail and catalogs. Catalogs were originally used to bring products and consumers who were in remote areas, right? We used to shop from the Penny's catalog and then go to the Penny's catalog pickup store in Waukesha, which was, a 20 or 30-minute drive. It's not far. It's just that there wasn't any freeway in those days. Direct mail was used to bring the stores to those who lived outside of the market radius. Okay, and then with the internet, catalogs became archaic. Direct mail became so last year, and I have to say, I agree. I'm not disagreeing. As one who's stuck with catalogs the whole time, it wasn't that catalogs stopped working. No, it was that boards of directors and venture capitalists said, oh, that's so expensive. We're spending millions of dollars. I remember fighting for the catalog with holdout tests for Musician's Friend. I actually met with the venture guys or the finance guys in Dubai. I met with representatives of that company. Guitar Center was owned by, Musician's Friend was owned by Guitar Center, who didn't like the catalog because they thought it was stealing sales from their retail stores. And the investors and the venture money guys in Dubai didn't like catalogs because we were spending, let's see, at the time, and this is a while ago, so it's not confidential information, I wouldn't think. But anyway, I don't even know if the Musician's Friend catalog still exists, to be honest. But because they moved it to LA and they fired everybody that I knew. Anyway, so the Musician's Friend was mailing, it's a pretty nice piece, so let's say $2 or $3 a copy, about 500,000 customers, not too much prospecting. And so let's just say it was at $2 a piece, 6 million catalogs, that's $12 million a year. But it was a $500 million company. That's nothing as a percent of sales, right? Okay, it was like 2% of sales. That's nothing. And yet they saw this $12 million expense and said, well, we can just do all of that on the internet. And so we would hold out tests, and what we would find was that the people that got a catalog did about 300% higher ROI. So we would mail 500,000 of them, and we would not mail about 30,000 of them. And some of them we wouldn't mail for a month, and some of them we wouldn't mail for 2 months, and some of them we wouldn't mail for 3 months. And of course, the longer we didn't mail them, the bigger the differential between who we mailed and who we didn't mail. They petered out quite quickly. Okay, the catalog kept driving profit. So if you took the $2 or whatever that you spent and compared it with the $50 or $60 of extra revenue on that differential, you saw that it was clearly worth doing, right? But we had to fight year after year after year with Guitar Center and with Dubai, and it wasn't because it wasn't working. It was because it wasn't fashionable. Irritating, really annoying. So let's see who the author is here. Laura. So Laura says, are we finally seeing the return of the catalog? And I don't think we really are. I think people dabble in it. I don't think that they really know what they're doing. I watched a presentation a few years ago when Wayfair came out with a catalog, and they talked about how they didn't pre-purchase the paper. They didn't work with their printer. They didn't know, they just didn't know anything. And it was like an hour presentation at Namoa. And I looked at the people at the table and I said, if they would have called any one of us, they could have saved themselves so much aggravation. And everybody nodded. So people dabble at it. And they were getting pretty good results. I don't know if it's still going. I don't keep track of every catalog that exists. But when Blockbuster called me and asked me if I wanted to do their catalog for them, I told them it wasn't possible that it's going to make any sense. They had 27 million households, and they knew what they rented for movies, but I didn't see any compelling reason why your movie preferences would translate into merchandise. Now, what I know now is I probably could have figured out something, okay? With machine learning, I was just dabbling in it at the time. Now I really know something about it. But I ran the numbers and I said it can't work. So you can call somebody who can actually tell you not to go into catalogs. And that's an important part. I never charged them a dime for that. They offered me six-figure consulting fee to launch their catalog. And a couple of years later, I was down in the Fort Lauderdale area, and I called up Kerry Valentine, and I was the number 2 guy there. And I said, how about lunch? And he said, hey, great, I'm buying. Okay. So, we had a nice talk. He said, funny you should call today. We just pulled the plug on that catalog. He said, we lost $5 million. You were absolutely right. And I've never met a consultant who would walk away from 6 figures just because you were pretty sure it wouldn't work. I said, well, I was pretty sure it wouldn't work. So anyway, there's a lot of reasons why you should go into catalogs. And one of the things that Laura says here that's really good is that this builds engagement, that the customers who engage with a catalog convert more, spend more, and become more loyal. We found, again, in comparing I've had a few clients who went whole hog into digital. And so we compared the downstream purchases. How much, okay, for the new customers that came in this calendar year, in the next 6 months, how much did they spend? How much profit did they generate? Because they say it's always profitable. It's always profitable to remarket to your existing customers. It wasn't profitable for them. Okay. I worked with one of the oldest catalogs in America, older than Sears. And we just couldn't mail the Christmas buyers a catalog. Couldn't afford to. They were worse than the rented lists. They were basically costing us just so much money. Now we could, if we waited until the next holiday season, but normally you can mail them right away and they'll buy. The catalog buyers will buy, but the digital buyers would not buy. They were terrible. Okay. So there is real benefit in acquiring customers with catalogs. It's gotten a little more difficult, but there's tools. There's all kinds of scale. And that's another thing is there's always households. You can scale direct mail much more easily than you can scale a lot of digital, right? Because you don't know who's really seeing it. But the most important thing that people ignore is that direct mail has baked into it all the ingredients for machine learning. You can learn more about your customers with direct mail mailings because the engagement is so high that it can drive your machine learning. And that's the Lovesac case study, which you can find, or call me and I'll tell you how we took the catalog and learned what worked to drive traffic to the stores, and then what offers made the most sense in digital. And we learned more from the mail, and then we drove digital. And, here was a 20-year-old retailer that had only grown by adding stores and doubled in size in just a couple of years and went public. Okay, so there's so many reasons to do mail. But, like I said, give us a call. The phone number down below there. And my email, john@wdma.org. And find out if the catalog idea works for you. Very, very good question to ask. It's not that it stopped working. It's not that it ever stopped working. LL Bean keeps growing. Land's End keeps growing. It's that people got tired of it. It's that the marketers, watch yesterday's show, the marketers want something new and trendy. Alicia from Bud Light said that. Yes, they do. But that can shoot you in the foot. It's time to look back at stuff that really works and why it works. Give me a call. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart.